The Dignity for All Students Act, DASA, tools for training school employees, instructional and non-instructional school staff. This is for the Schuylerville Central School District for the 24-25 school year. This program is an adaptation from the New York State Center for School Safety. During this training, we will discuss definitions of key terms, reporting requirements, how to respond to instances, and district contact information. The Dignity for All Students Act, DASA, was established to protect all students from harassment, bullying, and discrimination. The legislature finds that students' ability to learn and to meet high academic standards, a school's ability to educate its students, are compromised by instances of discrimination or harassment, including bullying, taunting, or intimidation. The legislation states it is hereby declared to be the policy of the state to afford all students in public schools an environment free of discrimination and harassment. The purpose of the article is to foster civility in public schools and to prevent and prohibit conduct which is inconsistent with the school's educational mission. The effects of bullying and harassment. 1 in 5 kids experience bullying. 5.4 million students skip school at some point each year due to bullying. 9 out of 10 LGBTQ students experience harassment in the school. More than 1/3 of adolescents reporting bullying reports bias-based school bullying. Students with experienced bullying are at an increased risk for depression, anxiety, sleep difficulties, lower academic achievement, and dropping out of school. The Dignity for All Students Act prohibits bullying, harassment, discrimination, or cyberbullying, including but not limited to those acts based on a person's actual or perceived race, color, weight, national origin, ethnic group, religion, religious practices, disability, sexual orientation, gender, including gender identity and gender expression, and sex. Harassment or bullying means the creation of a hostile environment by conduct or by threats, intimidation, or abuse, including cyberbullying, or either A, has or would have effect of unreasonable and unsustainable interfere with the student's educational performance, opportunities or benefits, and or mental, emotional, and or physical well-being, including conduct, threats, intimidation, or abuse that reasonably causes or would reasonably be expected to cause emotional harm, or B, reasonably cause or would reasonably be expected to cause physical injury to a student or cause a student to fear for his or her physical safety. Threats, intimidation, or abuse shall be verbal and nonverbal actions. Emotional harm that takes place in the context of harassment, bullying, or cyberbullying means harm to a student's emotional well-being through creation of a hostile environment that is so severe or pervasive that an unreasonable or sustainable interfere with a student's education. Acts of harassment, bullying, or cyberbullying can occur on school property, at school functions, and off school property, where such acts create or would foreseeably create a risk of sustainable disruption within the school environment, where it is foreseeable that the conduct, threat, intimidation, or abuse might reach school property. Cyberbullying occurs where any harassment or bullying happens through any form of electronic communications. What are examples of bullying and harassment? They can be overt, meaning physical or verbal, or they could be covert, social, relational. Cyberbullying can also be verbal and physical. Material instances of harassment, bullying, and/or discrimination. A single verified incident or a series of unrelated verified instances where a student is subjected to harassment, bullying, and/or discrimination by a student and/or employee. A report of harassment, bullying, and/or discrimination may include, but is not limited to, the following examples. A report regarding the denial of access to school facilities, functions, opportunities, or programs, including but not limited to restrooms, changing rooms, locker rooms, and field trips. B, a report regarding application of a dress code, specific grooming, or appearance standard. C, a report regarding the use of names, pronouns, or the pronunciation of people's names. D, the report regarding any form of harassment, bullying, and/or discrimination based on a person's actual or perceived race, color, weight, national origin, ethnic group, religion, religious practices, disability, sexual orientation, gender, which includes gender identity and expression, or sex. Under the Crown Act, an amendment was made to the Dignity for All Students Act in 2019, which added definitions for race. It includes traits historically associated with race, including but not limited to hair texture and protective hairstyles. Protective hairstyles should include but are not limited to such hairstyles such as braids, locks, and twists. Under the Crown Act, examples of discrimination based on natural hair or hairstyles include reports regarding punishment, differential treatment or humiliation of a student, exclusion of a student from school function, athletic teams, school yearbook based on hair texture or protective hairstyles, a request to alter or actually alter a student's protective hairstyle. Staff reporting of incidences or complaints. Staff witnesses an incident and/or receives a complaint are required to orally report the incidents within 1 school day to the principal, superintendent, or designee. Within 2 days, they're supposed to report in writing what has also occurred. DASA reports may also be received via the district website. DASA incident report forms should be easily accessible to parents, students, and staff on the school's website. They are located on the Forms section of the Schuylerville Central School website. All school employees, students, and parents must receive a copy of the reporting process at least annually. DASA prohibits retaliation against any individual who reports or assists in the investigation of harassment, bullying, cyberbullying, or discrimination. Do you know what our policy is on DASA and where it can be found? It can be found at the end of this presentation in the resource section. We will also list who our DASA coordinators are for each building. We've already discussed where I can find the DASA complaint form. It is on the district's website under the forms. Can DASA complaints be made anonymously? And the answer is yes. DASA reports can also be made anonymously. Do you know what you should do if you witness harassment, bullying, or discrimination? Do you know what you should do if you receive an oral or written report of harassment, bullying, or discrimination? It is important to know the school district's policies and know your proper chain for each building. One of the main goals of the school district is to prevent instances of discrimination before they occur. Looking at the wheel, we look at some of the programs that we can institute or have instituted to help prevent schools from experiencing discrimination for all of our students and to help students feel supported and safe at school. As an educator, it is important to respond to instances that students bring to your attention. It is important that we listen, listen, listen. Do not dismiss or make judgments. Be welcome and affirm their complaints. Express concerns for the student's safety. Express determination to keep that student safe. Explain steps that will be taken and state that parents may also need to be informed. What can be done to support students? Express concern for students who are being targeted. Establish regular check-ins for those students. Increase supervision in those areas where you have been told that the bullying or harassment is occurring. Speak to students who are possibly doing the bullying and put them on notice that you understand that what is going on. Increase staff awareness so that you are not the only staff member who knows what's happening. Give clear directions for the student of whom to report to. Enlist support from other students to help create a safe environment for the student being bullied. And communicate Communicate internally the plan to protect and support the student who feels as they are being targeted. Who are our school DASA coordinators? In the elementary school, it is the principal, the K-3 discipline officer, the 4-8 assistant principal, and the K-4 counselors. In the middle school, make sure you report to the principal, the 4-8 assistant principal, and the 5-8 counselor. At the high school, it is the assistant principal and the K-12 school counselor. Additional considerations. The purpose: to foster civility in public schools and to prevent and prohibit conduct which is inconsistent with the school's educational mission. How does our community work together to prevent bullying, harassment, and discrimination? How do we communicate internally, and how do we communicate with students and families is very important. More information regarding DASA can be found at the New York State Education Office of Student Support Services and the New York State Center for School Safety.